I wonder, how do you view death? As a natural part of life, a gateway to something better, or perhaps a release from suffering? In any case, most of us feel some measure of unease about our own future demise. After all, sooner or later, not just you, but everyone you've ever known will stop functioning in the world, and this will be irreversible. That's the sense of finality, the one we spend so much of our life trying not to look at directly. It's only natural to have a deep unease about the future that is as yet unknown. Unease about death often connects us to what? To loss, the things or the people we cannot take with us. A beloved partner, a treasured pet, a precious object, something that made life worth living. Modern Western culture does not talk easily about death. We change the subject, we joke, we avoid. Psychologists sometimes call this the death taboo. As a therapist, I've seen it surface in subtle ways, in health anxiety, in phobias, even in compulsive rituals. And behind each, somewhere near the root, there often sits a quiet fear of mortality. Over the years, I've come to believe that, however, confronting our mortality can help us live more authentically. To live the whole of life aware of death is to sharpen our sense of what it is to be alive. When my parents died, I was struck by the clarity of who they were, the aims they pursued, the kindness they showed. Their death stirred in me a deep gratitude, and inevitably a reflection that, have I made the most of what they gave? I do have an edgy feeling about my own death. Will I find myself looking back at my time on earth in a positive way or negative way? Will I see some important things I've failed to do? Having said that, I do appreciate that for the terminally ill who are given emotional support and dignity, facing death can become a kind of completion, a summing up. Despite their failings, they can come to look upon what they have given to the next generation, and they can meet their ending with calm acceptance. Not denial, not fear, but peace. For some, belief in life beyond death eases the fear of finality. Research tells us that people with deep personal faith often report less anxiety about dying. Curiously, the same is true of those who firmly disbelieve. No, it's the uncertain, the ambivalent who struggle most. If you're convinced when you're dead, you're not going to be so uptight about it. Or if you have a really deep faith in the afterlife, neither will you. Perhaps it's doubt, not death itself, that breeds our unease. So maybe I should become a cynic and try to prove to you there is nothing beyond the deathbed. But truthfully, I do hold a conviction that life continues. I've got to admit it, I do have that conviction, that very firm belief. Now, in the 18th century, the Swedish scientist and mystic Emanuel Swedenborg wrote of mystical experiences he believed that were granted to him. And these included a vision of what it is like to die. He described how at death, when the heart stops and the breath ceases, the deeper part of the individual continues to live. The person is brought into a state where physical senses are rendered insensible, but inner thought and awareness remain. To perceive what happens during the awakening from death. In other words, life does flow on seamlessly, not in the body, but in the spirit of the person. He reported that people with a gentle character attend the newly dead, surrounding them with peace and love. They help the person to feel at home and gently awaken to a previously hidden reality of spirit. Communication is at first by heartfelt impressions rather than words, but gradually life feels strangely familiar, with faces, voices and gestures just as before. Only slowly will we realize that I am no longer in the physical world. From his point of view, death was not an end, but a continuation. As we pass on, we are carefully tended by protection and care. The first state after death lasts only a few days for most people, and during this time we will be gently led away from the external, outer bodily aspects of life and introduced more deeply into our deeper inner selves, the feelings and affections and intentions that make up our real character. Swedenborg emphasizes that we awaken from death, but not in our natural body, but instead in the spirit realm. We will be in complete human form in every respect. Avoidance of the subject of death, yes, it sustains anxiety. Acceptance promotes peace. So it's a good idea to find out more about what the mystic has to say. When we stop pretending that death is far away, we begin to live more vividly, to cherish our days, to be grateful, to be present now. In this video, then, I've been reflecting on unease about death and what I see when I die and what I feel when I die and what it's like to die, all from the point of view of Emanuel Swedenborg's visions. Thanks for watching. Now, if you've been interested, why not give me a like and offer a comment? It encourages YouTube to show this video to a wider audience. You may also want to click the link to Will I Still Be Me in an Afterlife?